So now if you lift this up, you'll see that there's an O-ring and a little sleeve. It's like a plastic sleeve. Alright, so we turn the valves off underneath. You can see I got no water. So this is what I'm trying to fix, if you can hear it. You can hear how that grinds. So what that is it's either needs some more grease or the O-rings are wearing out on it. So what I'm going to do is take this apart. Again, an Allen wrench. Right on the back end of here is where the Allen key is. You loosen it up and then you can pull that off. Then this gets screwed on. Now each one of these faucets is going to be different as well. You'll see there's some crud in here. This is just stuff that builds up. I mean, you can see the crud that's on here just from washing hands and getting all the wet stuff on there. This is why this stuff needs to be done, because so much crud builds up on these, especially these kitchen faucets. And I just had to clean the bathroom faucet a little while ago too, because the kids were getting soap in there. So now if you lift this up, you'll see that there's an O-ring and a little sleeve. It's like a plastic sleeve. You can see that's all dirty. So what we're gonna do is we'll just wipe it off. It's got grease on it, which is what it should have. So that's not bad. But what's grinding in here is the actual stuff, like the stuff that fell in there. And the O-ring looks like it's in good shape. And this O-ring, I think all it does is seal the actual cap here. Looks like it fits right inside there. So we'll clean those up. We'll try to get in here, get some of this crud out of here. Now you can take this up. There's another little sleeve. It's a plastic sleeve down here that this rides on. You can see there's stuff in there too. So what we'll try to do is get that stuff out too. This is what it does. The stuff builds up in here, the crud. You know, a toothbrush would probably work good here too. Okay. Now this will come off. Obviously the hose is in here, so it's not going to come off. But that's just how this thing rides back and forth. It sits on here, so we'll put a little grease on there. And then it sits with that sleeve and O-ring up here, and that's what it rides on. So you want to make sure we grease that O-ring, that little sleeve up really good. Now as far as the valve goes, which is right here, we need the channel or a crescent wrench. Move that over. And what you want to do is, you can see there's a hex head right here, and that's what loosens this. So carefully, because we don't want to rotate the whole thing. What we're going to do is unscrew this, okay? And now we got in here too. Now what we have is there's still grease in here. This is a very greased up piece. And you can see the valve actually has a nice amount of grease on it too. And that's what we want. Now you see when we pull this out. Now I'm going to try to zoom in on this. This has grease all over it, if you can see it. It's nicely greased up, which is good. That's what you want. You want to remember which way this goes too. There's writing on this side, and there's a little thing in the back. So that's got to go in the same way. So we want to leave that like that. Now, I'm going to zoom in on here so you can see inside of here, if you can, with the light. All this stuff in here, if you can see it, there's little things in here of calcium and stuff like that. That's what we're trying to get out of here. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to take the paper towel, actually preferably a clean one, and I'm going to try to pat this and get some of that stuff out of there. I mean, we could vacuum it if we wanted to get involved, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to get as much out of here as I can carefully. You don't want to ruin the rubber or anything like that, but that's pretty good. That's actually not bad. I've seen it a lot worse. So what we're going to do then, we'll take the grease first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease this really good. Again, put some fresh stuff on it. This is the part that rotates in there, so you want to make sure it's all greased up. And then that'll just sit in there like so. Okay. Then this valve, we want to make sure we wipe that out, and we'll put fresh stuff in it. There's also buildup in here from the water. Like I said, if you do this every couple of years or so, it's not a bad idea. This grease is cheap. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but it's very reasonable. It's probably only a couple bucks for this little thing, and that's all you need. And then what we'll do is just screw that back on, like so. Okay. Now what there is, this little sleeve here is an adjustment sleeve, which sits in here. It's got little teeth on it. I don't think I'll be able to show you, but all it does is it puts it right where it needs to be, side to side. So yeah, that's working pretty good there. So now what we have left is we're gonna take this sleeve. We're gonna have to grease both sides of this. So what I'll do is grease the inside first, and then I'll try to get some grease on the outside without making a mess of myself. You only need a thin layer. You don't need to get crazy. This stuff's pretty heavy. You just want to be liberal with it, that's all. And then what you want to do is just shake this a little bit, and you'll see the sleeve will slide its way in there. Just like that. Now you see how free that is. That's not even with the bottom. I'm going to put some on the bottom here too. I'll put a little bit down here. Just like that. And this stuff wipes off, so you don't have to worry about getting it all over the place. We can just take this wet towel once we're all set, and we can just wipe this off. Soap and water, you can do whatever you want with it. Alright, then what we'll do is we'll just put a little bit on this O-ring, like so, and we'll set it right in there. All you gotta do is set it in there, and then when we put this cap on, it'll kind of find its way. I'm just gonna get some of the crud off of this while I got it off. Like I said, toothbrush works good. In this case, I'm just gonna use my nail. And then we'll just carefully thread this back on. And this just needs to be hand tight, just like that. And there you go. You can see it's a lot better as opposed to what it was. So there was a lot of crud in there. But now we're all good. Everything's nice and done. What we'll do is we'll put this back on, just like that. And then we'll just tighten this screw down. You don't want to over tighten it. You want it to be nice and snug, but if you over tighten it, you'll end up cracking. It's just plastic inside there, so you do have to be careful. That's it. And that's, you can see that moves nice and free, no grinding. That's what you want. So then we'll just turn the water bag on. And turn it on. Make sure both the cold and the hot are working. Yes, they are. And that's it. And we'll just wipe it off. Get all the extra grease off of there. And you're good to go. So that's it. Hopefully this helps. It'll give you the advantage. See, all you need is some Allen keys to get into here. Mostly any of the handles, even the faucets in your bathrooms and stuff, they'll have a little Allen key to take it off. Most of the time, you just have to figure out. It's usually in the back where you can't see it. So all you gotta do is find the right size to that. Just loosen it up and just keep pulling on it until it comes off. That way you don't end up losing the screw, because if you go too far with the screw, it'll fall right out. So you pull that out, and then you saw me, it just unscrewed this by hand. And then we can just clean up everything inside of here. Just remember which way everything goes, and that's all you really need to care about. Get yourself a little of this grease from the Home Depot, and then once in a while just get in there and make sure all the O-rings and all the plastic pieces have some little bit of grease on them, and everything will last a lot longer. Make sure it's all cleaned out really nice, and you'll be good to go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I wanted to get a little bit more of a basic routine maintenance type video out. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. I've been doing this stuff for a while as far as working on plumbing stuff. So like I said, a lot of these, they're all a little different depending on the brand and how old they are and stuff like that. So, but all have the basic premise of some of the handles will be a Phillips head screw to unscrew them and pull them out. Like I said, sometimes you need channel locks to pull those valves out if the valve isn't coming out because it's so old and dirty. I've had shower valves where after I unscrewed it and I knew it was all unconnected, I couldn't get the darn thing out. I literally had to put pounds and pounds of pressure pulling it out with those channel locks to get that piece to come out of there. So you just have to be careful. There's little things like that you might run into. Most of the time it's not like that. A lot of these are plastic. A lot of the older ones are made out of brass and metals instead of as much plastic. So they kind of got stuck in there a little bit over time. But hopefully that all helped you, and yeah, definitely keep up on your stuff, and then everything will move like this and you won't have to worry about. Alright, take care guys, I'll see you in the next video.